So here's a question that I'm going to be using Geogebra to solve. So I'm going to flip over to Geogebra in a second and show you exactly what to do for a question like this. I'm going to go ahead and read the question. It says a segment with endpoints -5, 3, and 4, 12 is the diameter of a circle. And it's wanting us to go through parts A through D and find each part. It's saying find the center of the circle, find the length of the radius, find the circumference of the circle, and write the equation of the circle. So I'm going to jump over on Geogebra and show you how to do this. Okay, so I have Geogebra pulled up, and the first thing I'm going to do is plot my two endpoints. One of the endpoints was at -5, 3, so I'm going to go up and click on the point tool, and it's the very first option. And I'm going to go to -5, 3, and put a point. And if you're having trouble seeing your graph, you can scroll in and out. If you've got a mouse pad, you can put 2 fingers on the mouse pad and go up and down. That'll zoom in and out. If you're using a mouse, you can use your mouse wheel to zoom in and out of there. If your graph is not in the right place, you can always grab the mouse tool and move the graph around like this. But for the sake of this problem, I think right about here is going to be fine. So I'm going to click on the other point tool, and I need to plot my other point at 4, 12. So 4, and I need to move my graph down just a little bit. 4, 12, so right there. And then I'm going to connect these with a segment. So I'm going to come up here to my line tool, and the second option is a segment. So I'm going to connect these 2 points from A to B, just like that. The next step is finding a midpoint, because this in the problem says that this is the diameter of my circle. And since this is the diameter of my circle, I know that I've got a circle that touches A and B on the edges. And I know that my center is somewhere here on this segment, and Geogebra will find that for us. So all I got to do is go click on the point tool again, and 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th option down, you'll see a button there called midpoint or center. And if you click on that and then click on your segment, it will automatically put the center point right there for you. So part A we've already answered. If you look at the point C over on the left, you'll see that C is at -0.5 and 7.5. So I'm going to flip back over and write in -0.5 and 7.5. And then I'm going to come back to Geogebra. And part B is finding the length of the radius. Well, if I know that AB is the diameter of a circle, even if I don't have this thing graphed yet, if I don't have the circle on my graph, which we can go ahead and do that, I do have the ability to find the radius now, which is really the distance from either A, C, or CB. But I'm going to go ahead and put the circle on there first. So I'm going to click on the circle tool, and the very first option there says circle with a center through point. We're going to click on that, and I'm going to click on the center of the segment, which is point C, and you can either click on point A or point B. It's going to give you the same exact circle either one you click on. So I'm going to go up here and click on point B. There's my circle. As you can see, I've got AB as the diameter from side to side, and now it's time to find some distances here. I'm going to start with finding the length of the radius. And to do that, I'm going to click on this little tool here that looks like an angle. If I click on that, it gives me a drop-down menu. And a couple options down, you'll see an option there for distance or length. If you click on the distance or length, that'll give you the distance or length of anything that you want on the graph. So it's actually going to be used when we find our circumference as well, which is part C. So we're going to do the radius first. And I'm just going to click on C, and you can either click on A or B afterwards, but I'm going to go from C to B, so I'm going to click on C, and then I'm going to click on B, and notice how the radius pops up right there. So I have CB is 6.36, or roughly 6.36, and then I'm going to click on that same tool, the distance or length tool, and I'm going to click on the edge of the circle, and that's going to give me my circumference. Make sure that your mouse is scrolled over top where it's highlighted darker. That lets you know that you're in the right spot, and when you click on that, the circumference will show up. So my circumference is 39.99. The last thing we need to do is write the equation of the circle, but that was already done for us. As soon as we put the circle on the graph, Part D was already answered, and it's already over here on the left. If you see where it says circle, and then in brackets it says CB, right underneath that is your circle, or the equation of the circle. And if you can't see all of it, you can move this window left and right. So right there, x plus 0.5 squared plus y minus 7.5 squared equals 40.5. And we'll go and write that into our problem. So this is how you would use GeoGebra to solve a problem, to find the center of the circle, the length of the radius, the circumference of the circle, and write the equation of the circle.